Okay. Obviously, disappointing loss. Looking back on the week against Oklahoma, I thought our guys had a good week of preparation. I think our guys, they care a lot. They work their tail off. We talked all week about every week having a sense of urgency, and ultimately that all your week of preparation showing up on game day, and we didn't do that to enough consistency to go execute and take care of business in the game. I thought, obviously a ton of run game, and that was kind of the way that they were going to see the game is try to run the football and manage the game for their defense. And I thought we gave up you gave up 7 explosive runs for 140 yards there, and that really ultimately was the thing that we couldn't give up. They had 50 runs overall, 43 for about whatever it was, 115 yards. So there were plenty of good things that we did, but we are not consistent enough, play in and play out and executing and doing our job. And whether it was a fit by a linebacker or a D lineman or a corner, you had a couple of those one-off runs that we didn't fit consistently enough, and then you can point towards the exact same play where we are doing our job and executing and knocking things out. I thought we adjusted well in the second half, and our guys did fix the issues as the issues came, but certainly it just wasn't enough. I thought the drive before half was critical, that we needed to get a stop there, and gave up a touchdown. Coach talks all the time about the middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, and that's something we've really done a nice job of as a team, and certainly did not do a good job of that. And then obviously in the third quarter, we've got to find a way to hold them to a field goal when they get the ball off of a turnover, and did not do that either. So turnover margin was something that we have done a really good job of this season, and when we win the turnover margin, we're a hard team to beat. But when you don't get enough takeaways on defense, enough game-changing plays on defense, we put ourselves in a bad situation. So our guys have a maturity. They have handled things. Our leaders have stepped up in the moment. Certainly, they understand what this week means to this program, and what this game means to our university and our fan base, and something that we're all excited for the week of preparation. Very impressed with Auburn and the way that they're playing right now. Obviously, my background, have known Hugh Freeze for a long time, and known a number of people on that staff, and think that they have done a really good job of getting their guys to continue to play at a really physical level, and they're playing really hard. And I thought those things showed up the other night against Texas A&M. And like everyone in the SEC, there's been some ups and downs, and it's about fighting and finding a way to finish, and they're certainly doing that right now. So I think from a run game standpoint, they present a number of challenges for you. I think Jarquez Hunters is a phenomenal back, as tough of a back as we have seen. Creates a lot of yards after contact, does a really good job, finding ways of being patient to create explosive plays in the run game. You've got some 1+ style offense with the quarterback, and then guys on the perimeter that can make explosive plays downfield. So we'll have our work cut out for us, and looking forward to the challenge, and excited to go play in a great rivalry game.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start with Nick Kelly on the front right.
Yeah, when you're this far in the season, obviously there's a lot of game film. The games where you guys have lost or not have had as much success, the other teams had success running the football. How do you prevent teams just looking at what, say, Oklahoma did, or what Vanderbilt did, especially when you're facing a rushing offense like Auburn that they have?
Yeah. Well, everybody's going to go look at, you're going to look at what other teams have done to have success, on both sides of the ball. That's part of a game plan. I did think, OU, we saw a ton of 1+ style offense, quarterback option style offense, as much as we've seen from anybody this year. So I thought, you know, that's certainly always going to be challenging when you have one extra hat in the box, and the key is you're going to get some yards when you have that style offense in the run game, most certainly. But you gotta keep them from having the explosive plays, and that really ultimately was the thing for us. Is, you know, we had answers and we fixed those answers when they came back to those plays. But now building off of that consistency, so those things don't happen in the first place, and that was ultimately the thing that we didn't do well enough in the first half to give up the real scoring drive that they had right there before halftime.
Jump over to Kalen on the far left.
Hey, Kane, first, back-to-back questions. First, seen some reports about Deontay Lawson. If you could share his status, I know that's not something you typically do, but also, when you have an injury of a guy like to his caliber, the one who kind of runs the defense within the element of communication, what's kind of protocol? Does that responsibility kind of, go across a few players in practice to get ready for it so that they're used to it, or what does that look like when a guy like that goes down?
Yeah. Deontay will not be with us this week in the game, and I'll let Coach kind of handle it from that point forward. I think when you lose a guy that is, really he's kind of your steady maker in the box, and does such a great job with the green dot communication, and is such a leader for our guys and a great communicator on the field. That's tough. That's a tough loss for sure. But I think our guys have stepped up. Justin Jefferson stepped up in the second half and really did a good job kind of going in and playing the stinger, the weak side position for us. And we've got some young guys that I think are trending in the right direction right now with Jeremiah Alexander and Justin Okoronkwo, Caden Jones. Those guys are doing a nice job to where they're obviously going to have to continue that, and this week is going to be really important. But I think like everybody, you're going to have some of these injuries that you have to deal with, and it's got to be a next man up mentality. And I think our guys have the right mindset in terms of what they're going to be required to do on game day.
Go to the middle of the room here to Mike.
Is that something that kind of is divided amongst a few players in practice with the helmet?
The green dot
Yeah,
communication, yeah. So Justin Jefferson has been doing that all season as kind of our number 2 there in that position, and has done a really great job. Obviously, Jihad can do it. It's just Jihad plays so many different positions for us that it's hard when a guy's moving around like that for him to be the green dot communication. So we have 2 guys that certainly can handle it, but Justin will take the majority of the responsibility this week.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Jamarian at Wolf for this game. Just how do you think he did, and just where is Deontay at compared to, obviously you got some playing time with the top unit going back to Wisconsin?
Yeah, I thought Jamarian being able to move over to the Wolf in 1 week based off of some of the injuries that we had, and Yanze a little bit banged up, and so went over there, did a great job in the week of practice, and really played pretty well in the game. There are some similarities in the Bandit and the Wolf position, but then there's also some very staunch differences, and I thought he did a really nice job of making those adjustments throughout the week, and then really was fairly consistent in his execution on game day. So very proud of him, appreciate him doing that. I told him as much to have to move position, a starter right on our defense to go move and play a different position in the game. But that's what's great about some of our leaders, right? Those guys will step up and do whatever it takes in the moment. That's what's going to be required, when you lose guys like Q Robinson or Deontay Lawson.
Jumping across the aisle to EG right there.
Coach, you mentioned that you felt like the defense adjusted well in the second half to the issues. What were those issues that you needed to see be fixed in those adjustments that were made?
Yeah, so I thought, when you deal with a 1+ style offense, it's going to, now they have the quarterback as an element to the run game. And so normally when you can say, hey, we have somebody as a post player, we have somebody outside covering, you're kind of taking away some of the layer of the defense because you need that extra number in the run fit. And so what that does, right, is it puts you in a position that everybody has to make those one-on-one tackles, and there may be not quite as much overlap as a traditional quarterback hand the ball off, right? So those were really some of the issues that we had. Whether the quarterback kept the ball and ran it for a couple of explosive plays that we gave up, or some of the other runs where the ability for the quarterback to keep the ball now kept us light in the box on the front side when he handed the ball off to the running back. So those are the things, right, that ultimately you're going to give up some yards when you're dealing with an option style team and a 1+ offense, but it's those explosive plays that you got to be able to get them down, before they can create explosives that either flip the field or maximize drives to score like they did right before half.
Go back right, Ryan.
Coach, I'm curious, you talk about Hugh Freeze. What makes an offense of Hugh Freeze so dangerous and how it's evolved over the years?
Yeah, I think, I think like any good coordinator, he has found ways over the years to adjust to his personnel. I think that's the challenge for everybody, right, as you move to the end of the season, identifying what you do well as a team, but also what wrinkles you have to have, right? You gotta constantly be mixing things and changing things in the SEC. I think he's done a really nice job at that the last couple of weeks. They are committed to running the football, and they're committed to creating explosive plays in their passing game downfield. So those are the things I think would be the staple of who he's been over the years, and he's done that a number of different ways and a number of different facets with different quarterbacks, different offensive skill players. But ultimately, I think they do a great job of finding ways to establish a run and then using that run game to create explosive plays downfield in the play action game as well. And so RPOs are certainly a piece of what they do. It always has been. And so they make you defend the lateral space out of their run game as well.
We'll finish up with Matt here on the right.
And going back to making adjustments, now that you've watched the film, is there anything different you wish you would change during the game that maybe got missed in real time?
Yeah, I think there's always there's probably 2 or 3 things that I would have rather have called this versus that. When you look at it, I think you got to be critical of yourself first in terms of, okay, what could I have called to put ourselves in a better position? Quite honestly, the explosive plays that we gave up, probably one of those calls I would have liked to have had back. The other 2 really didn't hurt us, but I thought I could have called something better in the moment. But really, I think that's the hard thing, is getting guys to play consistently, play in and play out, and do the same high level job. So you have that exact same run and we knock it out, and then all of a sudden maybe they come back to it and we didn't do our job in that moment. So I think building consistency has been really the challenge for us in year 1, and that's something that we're going to have to continue to strive to do this week against a good rushing attack.
There's an interception. What do you kind of teach your quarterbacks to do in that situation? And kind of a 2-parter, what do you make of Jalen's effort there on the pick 6?
Yeah, certainly, the number 1 priority anytime you turn the ball over is to get the guy down. And so there's different things and fundamentals that you're trying to teach the players. You're always trying to front the ball up to try to make a change direction to try to help the pursuit, but obviously we didn't do a good enough job in that moment.
Go to Nick here on the front right.
Yeah, what are some of the coaching points when you look at the film in terms of Jalen running the ball and what you guys are doing from a blocking standpoint in those moments?
I think there was a little bit, at times, a little bit too much lateral running that occurred, and so when you watch the tape, just encouraging him to be a little bit more north-south in some of those moments, just to have a little bit more production. It's a fine line there. Obviously, he's trying, he's making instinctual plays and trying to create, plays. He's trying to create explosive plays, but I think there were times in the game where he could have been a little bit more north-south and a little bit more decisive that way when he ran the ball.
Stay on front left here to Katie.
How much was the offense limited on Saturday by what the offensive line was able to control or not control on the line of scrimmage?
I don't think that we were limited based on that. I thought we didn't execute well enough, and that was all of us. And obviously it was disappointing, but we all played a part in that, coaches, players, and it was not one position or the other. We all didn't execute well enough, consistently enough, down in and down out to be able to stack plays to put our team in a position to win. So I wouldn't. It didn't have anything to do with one position or the other. We all played a part in that.
Go to the back right of the room here, Ryan.
Coach, I'm wondering if you have, or what's going to be the message today to the offense to flush this, to focus on the Iron Bowl, which is a huge game after a game on Saturday that didn't go your way.
Yeah, I think we don't meet with the players today. We obviously visited with them yesterday to recap what occurred and what's ahead. And I think the one thing about this group that has been proven is the resiliency, the grit, the toughness, the pride that they have to respond. And we've seen that out of this group. I think the leadership has been outstanding, and I expect that to be the same moving forward.
Go to the middle of the room, the EG.
Coach, what is your evaluation of the in-game adjustments made by the offense?
Well, Saturday not good enough, right? I think that's a fair assessment. And so, like I mentioned before, none of us did a good enough job, to put our team in a position to win. And that certainly starts with me. And we need to do a better job.
Go to Scott, back left.
In the most recent 7 games, if you take out LSU, Jalen's averaging about 26 yards a game rushing. I know he's still the best athlete on the field at any point in time, probably. How do you balance that with getting that production up, but also obviously realizing you're more dangerous to defend, getting other guys involved? There's kind of a dynamic.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I think the more players that you have involved, the harder you are to defend. I think that's a fair point. And so each week you evaluate, who you're going against, what they're doing schematically, what the personnel matchups are, to be as difficult to defend based on your personnel and what you do, on offense. So, that's something that we consider each and every week is how can we get more players involved, more touches to guys, to best attack the defense. And so that certainly will be the case this week as well.
We have time for a couple more questions. We'll start with Alex here on the right.
Obviously, one of the least productive performances of Jalen's career. I'm just curious what you saw from him after the game, and then yesterday as well, just his response to it as a guy who really takes a lot on his shoulders.
He's a very prideful player. He takes accountability in things that he can do better. Obviously, everyone was disappointed. Coaches, players, everybody. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of time, a lot of effort that's poured into each and every game, each and every season. And so, I thought his response was to be expected. He has a lot of pride in his performance. And so, like I said before, the one thing I know about him and the group is the resiliency, the pride that they have. They pour into the work. It's a hard-working group, and I know they'll respond the right way.
Anything else for Coach? Finish up with Katie here.
Kalen talked after the game about how the drops hurt the offense. Just kind of what did you see on those drops? Maybe was that uncharacteristic for some of those guys?
Certainly. I mean, that wasn't something that we expected being an issue going into the game. That's not something that has been an issue to this point or one that we expect moving forward. And I think that goes back to what I said is, everyone played a part, in our lack of execution and our lack of production. And so, looking forward to the opportunity to get back on the field tomorrow and improve and put our best foot forward and play our best game on Saturday.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah, good morning. Just recapping Oklahoma. I know the coordinator's done some of that, but just think a lot of it comes down to some execution in all areas. Offense, defense, gets up here and talk, but I think there's all areas where execution can be better. Obviously the turnover margin and some big plays, some momentum changing plays there played a role, and I think our inability to create explosives. I always look at that. We lost that area too in the game, and so there's details as to why all those things happen. We meet with our team yesterday. I think that's what you can do with this group is you can be very truthful, very, very honest. The relationship's there, the trust's there. Our leadership is there, whether it's staff or just our leadership within our team. And so, they want to know the facts. They want to know the details, and we address those. And our focus turns to the Iron Bowl now, and the excitement of that. We got to make sure we're focused on the next play and only the next play. It's senior day for 19 guys. We have 10 scholarship, 9 walk-ons that we'll get a chance to recognize, celebrate that day with them. Want to send them out with win and a great experience. Appreciate all these guys and everything they poured into it. We got with the 10 scholarship, I think 3 special teams, 5 defense and 2 offensive guys, that are playing their senior year here. So, care a lot about those guys, and our team does too. And want it to be a special time for them, special week, getting ready to play the Iron Bowl. And then the last thing, just unfortunate, I know it was kind of addressed here earlier, Deontay Lawson, we'll lose him for the season with season-ending injury. And so, just an amazing leader, chosen team captain by the team. I can see not just what he means to us on the field, but just the love that our players have for him, especially those that have been through multiple years. Seeing what he pours into it, I know we all feel for him. So we appreciate everything he's been doing. And obviously you greatly miss what he does on the football field, but love having that guy in the locker room, leading their team. So think about him.
All right, thanks, Coach. Let's start with Chase on the far left.
Coach, when you went back and watched video of the game, what did you think of the effort that Jalen gave on the tackle on the pick 6?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to find a way to get him out. He's a good enough athlete to where either using the sideline or forcing a cutback. It's not something you spend a lot of time practicing. That's not a position he's in. He's got to find a way to get him out of bounds. And so I trust Jalen to do a lot of things, and I trust that he can get it down. So, find a way to get the defense out there. Find some way possible. Pull them to a field goal. Those are the things we want to try to do. But it's not something you practice a lot. I blow the whistle dead every time. Obviously, I don't want guys tackling each other in practice, especially the quarterback. So, find a way. That's what I would say.
Go to Charlie here at far right.
Hey, Coach. It didn't look like Justice Haynes played a ton in the second half. Maybe he was kind of working through some things. Do you have an update on him and if he was maybe limited?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys working through things all season. He's certainly one of them. And so, Justice, trying to use him in the ways we can. And everyone's not at full strength. And, but he goes through the week of practice, trying to prepare the best he can to go out there and give us everything he's got. So, we believe in him for sure.
Back over to the front left, Katie.
You talked about turning the focus to the Iron Bowl. This is a group of players that haven't lost to Auburn in their careers. Just kind of is that motivation enough for these guys for this rivalry game this week?
Yeah, and just already talked about it yesterday in the team meeting, and you can already feel leadership stepping up and really talk about what this game means to them, what this means to us, what it means to everyone, both sides, the state. 365 days of the year. Ever since I've been here, I think I hear about it every day. And so understand what it means and the excitement, and we have to put and learn from last week and be better because of it, and turn the page and get ready to practice tomorrow and do everything we can to be successful on Saturday. Find a way to win.
Go to Nick, front right.
Yeah, without Deontay, Justin Jefferson's a guy you guys will turn to. What does he bring, and what does he need to do to make sure that he fills that void?
Yeah, maybe a little different style. Obviously, stature, you look at that right away, but Justin can run. Justin's physical. He's a guy you can count on. He's really trustworthy. He pours everything into it. He has just a team-first mindset. Going through spring ball, him kind of trying to figure out his role at the time. Just he's been ready whenever called upon. He's worked through his things here and there with injuries, but he's any guys looking forward to that moment and know that along with the disappointment that we always have and how much we love Deontay, we're also excited about the next man up and the opportunity that it creates for him. And so Justin's a huge fan of our entire team, our coaching staff. We're all fans of him, and want him to go out there and be great. And we're confident in it.
Go to the front middle of the room to Tony.
Just what have you seen from the lack of consistency, and then what do you do to kind of maybe what traits do you need to kind of build that up and to maybe be able to sustain some of the
as a team?
Yeah, just in several areas.
Yeah, really, it's disappointing because I feel like we've done a good job of building up over the last month. Really the consistency in all areas really starts with winning the turnover margin. That's been ways where we've, really got momentum. We've started fast because of it. We've held team to field goals. We gave up really the one touchdown and we forced them to field goals. So some of those things still were in play. We didn't have that momentum that you need. We went into an environment, we let the environment be what it was because we didn't grab a hold of it like we did at LSU, and kind of took over the place. And so we let them hang around through the first half, and then obviously they got the score at the very end. And then a couple plays, right? The takeaways that they had, or the turnovers on our part, really spinning the game there. And what your focus is at that time when you're in the middle of the third quarter. Spoke to coaching staff, and then passing it on to the team, is just try to find a way to get one more score here at the end of the third quarter. Try to make it a 2-score game, and if you get 10, and cut into it even more. That's what your goal is, and give yourself a chance to where you're competing. Keep applying pressure, keep pouring it on the best you can. It wasn't like I felt like we needed to make more adjustments. We just made a couple mistakes there, and that's won the game. We knew they had a good defense going in. We knew that they had that ability to make those type of plays. Unfortunately, we turned it over, and those two in particular, the third one, at the end of the game. But we had a chance to cut into that lead. We didn't. That led to the fourth quarter where you're just kind of trying to find any way to get explosive plays, a lot of passes. Not pretty much one dimensional out that way offensively in particular.
Go to the far left, Colin.
Hey, Kalen, did you reach out to the SEC about the illegal touching call made against Ryan Williams, and if so, what did you hear?
Yeah, there's been communication, and there's nothing you can really do now, right? The game's over and stuff, so you just got to be comfortable with the communication that you have. That's been the case with the SEC, and we just move on. We're focused on the Iron Bowl.
Alex on the right.
We've obviously got to finish out the regular season this week, but you got signing day the week after that. Transfer portal opens up the week after that. I'm curious how much time is spent on roster management right now, and are conversations with the current roster and the retention piece of it already happening?
Yeah, I think that's one thing with our staff that just, the relationships that exist. I think there's little conversations that happen periodically. They might happen different times with different guys, because they feel open to talk to our staff. And yes, there's different levels of conversations. Some of them are initiated not just by us but by the players, and it's just talking through it, getting our input. That's not the focus right now. The focus is on the Iron Bowl. The focus is on the regular season. But I think just in the sidebar conversations, them looking to our staff as mentors, and they have their families, they have the people that they go to away from the building as well. But just really working through it with them, and comfortable with where we're at. The roster management piece is a huge deal. The signing class in particular, and then obviously you're always. It isn't just an end of the season thing anymore. It's a constant year-round management of the roster, and kind of having a beat on what you think and feel might happen, and what you got to be ready for when that time comes.
Go to Matt on the far right.
You mentioned hearing about the Iron Bowl. What have you heard about just the game and how important it is for just the legacy of Alabama coaches?
Yeah, sure. It's going to be an awesome environment. We know that. Love playing the game at home, right? We get a chance to be undefeated. That's a sidebar. But be undefeated at home is a big deal. It's always been a big deal to me. And that's where we're at as a team. But this game, what it means to those that come from each side, and what it means to the state. It's talked about, not just told to me, but talked about amongst everyone in their homes. And it's Thanksgiving weekend, so if you're not at the game, you're watching it with your friends and family. So heard stories of families being divided because of it, many different ways. So you know, that's what rivalry games are all about. I know this is a rivalry that's on another level.
Going back right to Ryan.
Coach, I'm gonna touch up on that question. Just when you got here, like, was there a story that you heard? You're like, well, you've been through rivalry games before, but this one's a little different. Was there a story that you heard that you can tell us, or something about the Iron Bowl?
I mean, not that there's a particular story or something that's just, you know, off the wall. I know those all exist, but I mean, I understand, you know, what took place a year ago, you know, and what it took to win that game, and you know, that's, I think, probably pretty reminiscent of what, you know, both sides are looking at as far as the effort it's going to take, and playing for 4 quarters, playing every second, every play like it's your last. So that's the intensity of it.
Go to the DG, sorry, no.
Coach, when you look at the game plan going into OU compared to the in-game adjustments made, how do you feel like those complemented each other?
Yeah, I think the very end of the game, I think, was different just because of the nature of what the score was. But I felt like offensively, a lot of it was sticking to the plan, because I think our plan was good. We just, you know, we didn't get a chance to get into the offense enough to be able to create the explosives, the things that come off of plays that you're not setting up, because I mean, we'll go to the explosive opportunities whenever they're there, but you know, it didn't develop. There wasn't a rhythm, and I think it's always hard to you got to find those plays that can get into a rhythm. That's your base offense, and so a lot of times that, you know, is execution, and that's on everyone. That's not just on one particular group. But defensively, I think there's always adjusting, especially when a team has, you know, elements that are, you know, presented in a way that maybe are a little bit different. I mean, they still have the DNA of who they are. We knew that their quarterback would still be involved in the run game to some capacity. We knew a little bit of the formations, but there's going to be adjustments because every week offense, you know, shows new pictures, and you know, they're adjusting to their personnel. So there's probably a few more adjustments in the game plan as it goes on, but those are usually part of the game plan itself. You're just going to plan B, plan C, and that's to me what adjustments are. You know what the possibilities are each and every week from the film that you watch, and you know, it's just a matter of going to the next level and next set of plays that either attack offensively or you know, adjust to what you've been seeing defensively, and you call more of this rather than that. So I think, yeah, it evolved, but I think it's different for each side of the ball.
Go to Kirk on the right.
Yes, Coach, I know a loss is a loss, but I wonder if you differentiate a game that you think maybe you lost as opposed to a game where the other side won, and if the reaction and going forward is different from that.
Yeah, I mean, we lost, and you know, I don't know which ones I've ever felt worse about. Maybe people have strong opinions. I mean, when you lose, and it's just sickening. And, you know, every time it happens, I mean, that feeling in your gut, right, is there, and doesn't matter how. I know you can probably look at it different ways. You know, last second throw and you lose on the last play of the game versus, you know, losing when you're down by multiple scores. Yeah, it's still a loss. And so to us, we fell short. We didn't play at the level we're capable of, and that's what we look at. That's what we go back to. That's what we actually have. The flush is the feeling, because we have to understand that we're capable, that we have had a lot of consistency for a month, and that, you know, wasn't it on Saturday.
Let's go back to the room to Jamie.
Hey Coach, Alabama has Ryan Williams, Auburn has Cam Coleman. How difficult of a cover is he for a DB?
Yeah, and they have multiple threats that I would consider very difficult, but certainly, you know, high-profile guys, guys that have really produced, you know, for both teams, as you know, young athletes here at the college level. So he's extremely impressive. He's made a lot of plays for him this year, and yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta not just focus on him. You gotta focus on the other guys that have had big games. And it's not just the pass game, but it's also the run game. You know, their quarterback now, Thorne, has done a nice job adding to that too with his legs. So a lot of threats. You know, that's what you want to be. You want to be an offense that has a lot of threats, and they have that.